Hello and welcome again. My name is johngora. In today's episode, we're going to look at what causes havoc or disturbance in most of love relationships. The biggest killer of a love relationship is number one, the friends that we keep around. Sometimes the best friends that you trust with your partners are the worst enemies that you are containing within your circle. Most of the friends that you see around flopping your relationship, terming it with beautiful names, trying to please you when you are there, are the people picking 1, 2, or 3 weaknesses out of it and using it into their advantage. So the people that you put close to your relationship must always be verified, and you must be very sure that these people really mean good for your relationship. You need also to remember that relationship, especially love relationship, is an agreement between two people. If you add the third party, you destroy the taste and the power of that relationship. This is what happens when there is a problem that you need to solve in a relationship and you bring in the third party. That problem will never be solved. Not even your mother nor your father. A relationship is between two people, and we oftentimes we forget and we start bringing our problems outside our relationship. Maybe you consult your mother, you consult your father, you consult your friends. This is what happens. Your friends will always defend you. Your parents will always be on your side. And even if they don't, I am not so sure whether you will tell the truth about what you are doing that is wrong within that relationship. Therefore, the person who knows very well what you did, whether it is wrong or bad, is the guy that you are with in that relationship. Number 2, insecurities. There's a lot of insecurities in most of the relationships that we have today. One of them being the mobile phones. Number 2, the friends that we talked about at the first step. And number 3, trust. You see, when you're not honest in a relationship, when you're not honest even with yourself, leave alone your partner. If you're not honest to yourself, you cannot, sometimes you feel about doing something, but your conscience is telling you no, because it will hurt your relationship. Then it means that that insecurity should be put aside. But most often we don't, because we want to please something that is not self. We want to please something that is not attached to that relationship. You are not honest. You try to cover up things. You want to be so much inquisitive. You are too much demanding, or you are too much pressurizing for things. Sometimes you don't want your boyfriend or girlfriend to go to a certain group or go with a certain squad. You don't want them to attend even meetings at work. You don't want them to associate even with their own friends. Those are insecurities that will kill a relationship totally. Number 3, sex and money. I know a lot of you will not agree with me in whatever I'm going to explain, but some of you will agree with me that this is the most difficult part of a relationship, and this is what has destroyed almost 90% of our relationship. There must be a time when men must say no to sex before marriage, and there must be a time when women must say no to money before marriage. People will tell me that asking for money from your boyfriend is not a poisonous thing. Depending on your boyfriend for your shopping, for your rent, or for your upkeep is not poisonous. But I will tell you one thing, you woman who's watching this, it imprisons you and it puts you indebted to that man. When a man spends all his toils on you, maybe paying your rent, buying you clothes, buying you those luxurious things, it is a toil that that guy has endured to keep you who you are. You become indebted to that man. And if you look at the Google tells the definition of indebted to be you owing somebody a gratitude for favor or services. So once you receive that money, you owe that man a gratitude. You owe that man a thanksgiving. And what exactly comes out of it? It is sex. So women must practice to be self-disciplined. Being self-disciplined means that you have to take responsibilities of yourself. Remember, you're still under the guidance and protection and care of your parents. So your boyfriend is not permitted, is not even allowed to be taking care of you. It is not good. And this is where we go wrong. Most of the people will say that my man is stingy, he's not giving out money. Yes, they can be very philanthropic and they can be dishing out money. But remember, they will never dish that money until that's last time that you will need them to do. Let me ask you a very simple question. What would you wish to have by the time that you're married and you are in your own house and you guys are enjoying time? What will you use to enjoy those moments? If you are destroying the investment that this guy could be keeping and maybe banking somewhere for use when the right time comes. So why must we enjoy now and then suffer later? The same applies to sex. When a woman offers her body for sex and not love making, I don't want to call it love making, I want to call it sex, because this is done just out for pleasure. Because the outcome of that sin, I'm not talking about sin, but I'm talking about sin. The outcome of that sex you had is something that everybody fear. The outcome is not something that might be pleasing. And that's why you see people rushing to check whether they're okay, whether they are pregnant, whether they had something. You see, they protect themselves. The reason being, it is not yet the time to have it. Men, why must ladies say no to sex? Sex before marriage, first of all, biblically, it's a sin. But today, people don't care. We just get ourselves into it. But then again, you ask yourself, what happens after that? You pick spirits. You pick the DNA of another woman into yourself. And you do it today with one woman, tomorrow with another woman. Men must remember that sex is not everything. It is the most beautiful, sweetest, and enjoyable experience of a lifetime. But only when you make your decisions right. At what time would you want to have it? Is it a time that will make you have some kind of fear of the outcome after having it in bed? This is what you should ask yourself. Yes, I'm going to have sex, but is it going to make me happy for the whole of my lifetime? Or is it something that is going to cause some tension, some pain, and lack of self-esteem, lack of courage to face the society? I know it is not easy to abstain. It is very difficult, especially in this society that we live in today, the 21st century. But you and me can practice this. Practice makes perfect. At times, you have to endure pain, to accept to leave that what you feel so much comfortable with, to get into a non-comfortable zone. They say that happiness and growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. And therefore, if sex is what we term to as our comfort zones, then we need to get ourselves out of it to get to uncomfortable zones to be at the right place. And lastly, sex does not make you a Manchester United or an Arsenal. It doesn't define how good you are in doing what you can do best. So you don't need to look for validations. You don't need to look for a testing ground, but you need to be at the right time and have the best that you can have out of sex. Last but not least, communication. Communication is very important, especially when the two of you are at a distance. It is very important to understand each other, because sometimes it is within communication that conflicts generate. In some cases, you don't understand what the other is talking about. the best thing to do is to get clarity instead of bumping or busting like a bomb and start shouting at each other. At times, you need to check on each other, not every time. Communication should not be like a police check. Communication should be in a pattern that shows you care, that shows you just want to find out where somebody is. There's some kind of communication that appear to be like police checks, where somebody communicates each and every second. You don't have time to work. You are not given chance to breathe. And this kind of communication disturbs especially the man and shows how insecure a woman is. Every time sending a message doesn't solve or doesn't make love even much better. It only sends a message to your partner that there are some insecurities. And this kind of insecurities make us men start to think otherwise, because it brings a message into your brain that is not what is supposed to be there. And lastly, remember that couples, friends, lovers who pray together stay forever. Put God first and ask God to protect you, to prolong your relationship, to bless your relationship, and to make it pure. Thank you guys. My name is johngora, aka The Motivator.